15 under par, 26 birdies, one historic victory. At the Streamsong Black Course, Charlie Woods didn't just play, he dominated a field of the world's top juniors, including the one-ranked Miles Russell. Entering the week at rank 606, nobody expected a blowout, but Charlie delivered a performance for the ages, proving that his game is as legendary as his name. This is the definitive story of the week Charlie Woods truly arrived. Subscribe to Neon Golf now for the fastest updates on the legends of tomorrow. Let's break down the rounds that changed everything. In May 2025, the junior golf world descended upon Bowling Green, Florida, for the Team TaylorMade Invitational. This wasn't just any tournament, it was a gathering of the elite. The field at Streamsong Resort's Black Course featured 72 of the most talented boys aged 12 to 19, including 4 of the top 5 ranked players in the American Junior Golf Association, AJGA. Highlighting that list was Miles Russell, the AJGA one and the reigning junior PGA champion, a player many considered the undisputed king of the circuit. Among these giants stood Charlie Woods. At the time, Charlie was ranked number 606 in the Rolex AJGA rankings. While his presence always drew the largest galleries and the most intense media scrutiny, the consensus was that he was still a project. A talented sophomore with a famous father, but someone who hadn't yet proven he could win on this level. He had only played in 4 previous AJGA events, with his best finish being a T25 at Sage Valley. The Black Course at Streamsong is a brutal test. Known for its wide fairways but punishing greens and massive bunkers, it requires a blend of raw power and elite touch. For Charlie, this was his first ever AJGA Invitational, a major of junior golf, and he was competing on a sponsor's exemption. The narrative was set. Could Charlie just make the cut, or would he be overwhelmed by the firepower of players like Russell and Luke Colton? Tiger Woods was there, not as the 15-time major champion, but as a father and a mentor, watching from the sidelines as Charlie prepared for the opening round. The atmosphere was electric, more akin to a PGA Tour Sunday than a Wednesday morning junior event. Every swing was analyzed, every gesture compared to his father, but Charlie remained focused on the task at hand. He knew that to jump into the elite tier of the rankings, he didn't just need a good week, he needed a statement. The tournament began with a leaderboard dominated by the names everyone expected. Luke Colton and Tyler Watts opened with 67s to take the early lead. Meanwhile, Charlie Woods started his campaign in a way that can only be described as chaotic. His first round was a roller coaster that went viral almost instantly. He carded 8 birdies and an eagle, yet finished with a 2 under par 70 due to a string of bogeys and a triple bogey. He sat in a tie for 14th place, 5 shots back, but he had shown the explosive scoring potential that would eventually dismantle the field. After the chaotic first round that saw Charlie trade birdies for bogeys in a dizzying display of raw talent, the second round at the Streamsong Black Course was where the story truly shifted from potential to proof. The epic psycho scorecard of Day 1, which featured only 3 pars, became a distant memory as Charlie stepped onto the first tee for round 2. He needed to find a balance between his inherited aggression and a new level of professional control, and what followed was nothing short of nuclear. Charlie started with a clinical pace, carding 2 birdies in his first 4 holes to settle the nerves. However, the front 9 at Streamsong is designed to bait players into mistakes. Charlie hit a slight speed bump with 2 bogeys, but he managed to offset them with 2 more birdies, making the turn at 2 under par 34. While he was playing well, he was still chasing the leaders, and the golf world was waiting to see if he could sustain a run. Then came the back 9, the stretch of holes that analysts now call the turning point of Charlie's junior career. Unleashing his full potential, Charlie went on a bogey-free tear. He found a rhythm with the putter that reminded everyone of his father's prime, carding 5 birdies on the inward half to sign for a 5 under 31 on the back. His total for the day was a blistering 7 under par 65, matching the low round of the tournament. In just 18 holes, Charlie had catapulted himself 13 spots up the leaderboard. But he wasn't alone at the top. The second round also saw the inevitable rise of Miles Russell. The AJGA one, playing with the steady consistency that has defined his young career, carded a 5 under 67. For the first time on a major national stage, the Golden Child and the number 1 were locked in a stalemate. Both players finished the day at 9 under par 135, tied for second place, and just 1 stroke behind the 36-hole leader, Luke Colton, who held the lead at 10 under after consecutive 67s. The stage was now set for a heavyweight final round pairing. This wasn't just about a trophy, it was about the rankings. Charlie, ranked 606th, had forced his way into a final day battle with the best player in the world. The narrative had shifted from "Can Charlie make the cut?" to "Can Charlie Woods actually take down Miles Russell?" As the sun set over the Florida landscape, the pressure wasn't on the teenager from Jupiter. It was on the field that had to find a way to stop the momentum of a Woods on a mission. The final round Sunday at Streamsong Resort felt less like a junior tournament and more like a Sunday at the Masters. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation. On one side, you had Miles Russell, the clinical, disciplined world one who rarely made mistakes. On the other, you had Charlie Woods, a player who had just vaulted into the conversation with a 65 and was now carrying the momentum of the Woods charge. Both were chasing Luke Colton, but the eyes of the gallery were firmly fixed on the duel between the 1 and the 606. Charlie didn't wait to make his move. He stepped onto the first tee with a focused intensity that silenced the crowd. While the black course usually demands a cautious approach, Charlie decided to stay aggressive. He opened his final round by attacking the pins, and the rewards came instantly. After a solid par on the first, Charlie carded a birdie on the par 4 second. He followed it up with another birdie on the par 4 third, a hole that had troubled many of the field's top players throughout the week. By the time they reached the fifth hole, Charlie had already wiped away the one-shot deficit and moved into a tie for the lead. But he wasn't done. As Miles Russell fought to keep pace with steady pars, Charlie looked like he was playing a different course entirely. He birdied the fifth, then added 2 more massive birdies on the 8th and 9th holes. It was a sizzling run that left the leaderboard in tatters. Charlie Woods had gone out in a 5 under par 31. At the turn, the shift in the rankings felt palpable. In just 9 holes of golf, Charlie had not only overtaken Luke Colton, but had opened up a commanding 3-shot lead over Miles Russell. He was sitting at 14 under par for the tournament, a scoring pace that most juniors only dream of achieving in a lifetime. Tiger Woods, watching from a cart, remained stoic, but the subtle nods of approval didn't go unnoticed by the fans. He was witnessing his son transition from a student of the game to a master of the moment. The psychological impact of this run on Miles Russell cannot be understated. Russell, who usually thrives on being the aggressor, was now the one being dismantled. Every time Russell hit a fairway or a green, Charlie seemed to hit it closer. Every time Russell looked for an opening, Charlie slammed the door with another clinical putt. The Woods charge wasn't just about the birdies. It was about the relentless pressure that comes with having a name that strikes fear into the competition when it's at the top of the leaderboard. As they walked to the 10th tee, the question was no longer if Charlie could win, but by how much. The back 9 at the Streamsong Black Course is where leads are often lost to the wind and the punishing bunkers, but for Charlie Woods, it was where he cemented his legacy. With a 3-shot cushion over Miles Russell and Luke Colton, Charlie didn't just need to play great golf. He needed to play smart golf, a facet of the game critics often claimed he lacked. They saw him as a go-for-broke attacker, but the closing stretch on Sunday proved he had developed a veteran's tactical mind. Charlie began the inward half with a string of composed, discipline-heavy pars. He stopped chasing dangerous pins and started aiming for the fat part of the greens, trusting his speed matching on the putter to avoid the dreaded 3-putt. While Miles Russell tried to mount a late-day charge, birdieing the par 4/12 to close the gap briefly, Charlie responded with the ice-cold poise that has become his trademark in 2026. On the par 4/14th, one of the most difficult holes on the property, Charlie struck a wedge to within 10 feet and calmly rolled in the birdie. That was the dagger. The lead was back to 3, and the holes were running out for the rest of the field. As he reached the 18th tee, the scene was iconic. The Black Course's finishing hole is a massive, daunting par 5, and the gallery was 10 people deep all the way to the green. Charlie stood over the ball knowing a simple par would secure the title. But in true Woods fashion, he didn't just play to survive. He played to dominate. He uncorked a massive drive down the center, reached the green with a towering iron shot, and 2-putted for a closing birdie to sign for a 6 under par 66. The final scorecard was a statistical masterpiece, a 54-hole total of 15 under par, 201. Across the 3 days, Charlie Woods had recorded 26 birdies and an eagle, the highest scoring output of any AJGA Invitational in the 2025-2026 season. Perhaps the most shocking stat was the gap to the world one. Charlie finished a staggering 6 strokes ahead of Miles Russell, who ended the week at 9 under par in 7th place. This wasn't just a victory. It was a methodical dismantling of the elite junior ranks. The most viral moment, however, happened off the scorecard. As Charlie tapped in his final putt, he walked off the green directly toward Tiger Woods. The two shared a firm, professional handshake that quickly dissolved into a powerful, emotional hug. It was a mirror image of the scenes we saw at the Masters years ago, but this time, the roles were reversed. Tiger didn't have to say a word. The misty-eyed look of pride on his face told the story. His son wasn't just carrying the name. He was now carrying the trophy. Part 5, the aftermath and the birth of a standalone force. The 15-under-par victory at Streamsong was more than just a win. It was a statistical earthquake that permanently altered the landscape of junior golf. Before that week, Charlie Woods was a curiosity, a viral sensation sitting at rank 606. By the time the AJGA points were calculated following his victory, Charlie had rocketed into the elite tier of the world rankings, making an unprecedented jump of nearly 600 spots to land at rank 14. This leap wasn't just a number. It granted him fully exempt status, meaning Charlie no longer needed sponsor exemptions to play in the biggest tournaments. He had earned his seat at the table on his own merit. As we moved into late 2025, the accolades continued to pour in. In November, Charlie was officially named to the Rolex Junior All-America First Team. This is an honor reserved for the top 24 junior golfers in the world, putting Charlie in the same bracket as players who are already being scouted by the PGA Tour. The win against Miles Russell proved to be the proof of concept that college recruiters were waiting for. Now, in early 2026, the battle for his commitment has reached a fever pitch, with Florida State and Stanford leading a race that could define the next decade of NCAA golf. His performance in January 2026 at the Junior Orange Bowl International further solidified this new reality. While he didn't secure a win, his T19 finish in a grueling international field showed that his rank 20 status is no fluke. He is now consistently competing with, and beating, the players who once looked down at him from the top of the leaderboard. The rivalry with Miles Russell is no longer a David versus Goliath story. It is a clash of titans. Analysts note that Charlie's scoring average and ball speed are now neck-and-neck with the World One, creating a competitive tension that has made junior golf more popular than ever. The legacy of Tiger Woods will always follow Charlie, but the 15-under masterpiece at Streamsong changed the nature of that legacy. For years, the question was, can he be the next Tiger? After that three-stroke victory over the best field in junior golf, the question has changed to, how far can Charlie go? He has proven he can handle the pressure, he can outpower the long hitters, and most importantly, he can win when the entire world is watching for him to fail. As Charlie Woods prepares for the rest of his 2026 schedule, including a potential return to the junior players at TPC Sawgrass, he does so not as a shadow of his father, but as a standalone force in the game. The rank 606 days are a distant memory. The era of the 15-under champion is here, and at Neon Golf, we believe this is only the opening chapter of a legendary career. Charlie Woods has arrived, and he is exactly where he belongs, at the top.